How early did you start playing Fortnite? Do you consider yourself an OG? Well, today we're going to look at the absolute oldest things in Fortnite's Battle Royale mode, as we go over every item and weapon in the pre-season of Fortnite. Fortnite's Battle Royale mode was released on September 26, 2017. The first season was introduced on October 26th. So this time period in Fortnite is what's known as the pre-season, or as most would call it, Season 0. From September 12th to September 26th, Battle Royale was technically paid for, as it came paired with Save the World whenever you bought the game. And it only consisted of solos and squads at the time, so there was no duos or trios. Here's a picture of the Season 1 map, because the pre-season map is just extremely hard to find for some reason. Like, I really couldn't find any pictures of it, and I found like one picture, but it was very blurry, so I don't know what's going on with that. But anyways, it pretty much looked like this, except Dusty Depot, Salty Springs, and Tomato Town were all unnamed locations. They didn't get their names until October 12th. The first update for Battle Royale actually came out 2 weeks before its official free release. This update added most of what was in the preseason, but there's something weird about this list. Which brings us to the first thing, the ability to crouch. In Fortnite Save the World, there was actually no crouch in the game. So whenever Battle Royale came out, this was the first time you could actually crouch in Fortnite. Imagine if they never added it though. How long do you think it would take people to notice that you couldn't crouch? This update also included the Battle Bus. I believe this is one of the first instances where Fortnite began to set themselves apart from any other game. Instead of choosing like a plane or some sort of aircraft, they decided to go with a blue school bus on a hot air balloon. The creativity was there from the very beginning. Anyways, why don't we start off with the weapons, with the first up being the assault rifle. This was the only weapon that you could find in every rarity from common to legendary, with the epic and legendary rarity of course being the scar. And if you found a scar, you were definitely hyped, because during this time in Fortnite there was little to no damage drop off, and even though first shot accuracy also didn't exist yet, it didn't really matter considering the gold scar did a whopping 98 headshot damage. This thing was definitely insane. We also have the semi-auto rifle, which would later be renamed to the burst assault rifle in a later update. You could find these in common, uncommon, or rare, and it fired a 3-round burst with each bullet dealing 34 damage apiece with the blue rarity. Now many players hated the burst AR because a lot of times it was really inaccurate and hard to hit shots with. However, there were some players that loved it, and this eventually began to spark debates over which was better out of the gold scar and the blue burst. However, I think the gold scar 100% had the edge during its 98 headshot damage time period. Coming up next, we have the infamous pump shotgun. The pump was only in common and uncommon rarity, but honestly that didn't really matter for 2 reasons. One being the double pump, most famously used by Daquan. You could switch repeatedly between the pump shotguns to be able to shoot them basically twice as fast. In my opinion, I think this mechanic would still be really good in the game today, even with the level of skill and building that people have nowadays. And the other reason being the fact that there was no damage drop off, so you could use your shotgun as a sniper and still deal crazy amounts of damage. This weapon was wild upon release. And next we have the semi-auto shotgun, which of course would be renamed to the tactical shotgun. It came in uncommon, rare, and epic rarities, and it also packed a punch. They would eventually shift the rarity down, making it common, uncommon, and rare. But shotguns during the time just did tons of damage no matter what, honestly. And moving along, we have the OG submachine gun. It was literally just called submachine gun, and honestly it wasn't very good either. It came in common, uncommon, and rare, with the blue SMG doing just 13 damage per shot. It was a very bare bones weapon, but a very nostalgic one at that. Next up we have the pistol, which was originally named the semi-auto handgun. These came in common, uncommon, and rare, and it was just whatever, it was a pistol. Moving on, we have a better one, which is the revolver. This is an iconic weapon for OG Fortnite, man. They came in common, uncommon, and rare, and I'm not even gonna explain anything for this weapon. Just take a look at this clip. Moving on, we have our two snipers, the bolt action and the semi-auto. They both had epic and legendary variants, but the bolt action also had a rare variant. The one problem is that the semi-auto sniper was a notoriously bad weapon. At launch, it only did up to 44 damage for a body shot, and when it got buffed, it was only 66 damage, and a headshot didn't even do 200 damage. But to be fair, it did have a fast fire rate, so that makes sense. And next up we have our explosives, the grenade launcher and the rocket launcher. They came in rare, epic, and legendary rarity, and honestly it didn't really matter which one you had because either way you were a threat to everybody else in the lobby. During this time in Fortnite, nobody really knew how to build, and even the best of the best were really only using a few walls and ramps. So if someone was shooting grenades or rockets at you, it was pretty much game over. Oh yeah, and we can't forget the snowball launcher and the pumpkin launcher. Those were all the weapons that were in that update, but let's look at some of the other items. There was one throwable item upon release of the game, which is the grenade. There were common rarity, and you could initially hold 10 of them at a time until it was changed to 6. After throwing one, it had 3 seconds before it exploded, dealing 100 damage. For the longest time, I loved grenades because I always got the luckiest kills with them, I swear. Now, there were 3 different traps in the game upon release. The first one being the regular trap that we all know and love. It was a rare variant and it could initially only be placed on floors, and it dealt 125 damage. But the next 2 traps are a lot cooler in my opinion. The first one being the ceiling zapper. And it's exactly what it sounds like. It could be placed only on ceilings and it would zap anyone who walked under it, dealing 125 damage. And the other one being the wall dynamo, or wall dynamo, however you say it, I don't know. But anyways, it was pretty much the same thing, except it obviously could only be placed on walls. The only real downside to these traps was that they were pretty loud, so anyone that came near them would easily be able to hear them. But due to the game being so new, people would still unknowingly walk right into them anyways. Moving on, there were only 2 items that you could use for movement, and those were the jump pads. The first one being the vertical jump pad, which when you walked over it, you'd be launched straight up in the air, mitigating all fall damage. Oh yeah, and it was blue, my bad. But the other one being the directional jump pad, which would launch you horizontally in the direction you were facing, also mitigating all fall damage. These jump pads only took up 1/4 of a tile when placed down. I don't really know why, but yeah. But honestly, I'd love to see these come back. I'm actually surprised that they haven't been back in the game yet. With our next category, we have the healing items, and there were actually only 3 of them. The first one being bandages. These have been pretty much the same throughout their entire lifespan. They would heal 15 health each, but they could only get you up to 75 HP. You couldn't use them anymore after that, which leads us to the next healing item, the med kit. It took 9 seconds to use, but it would heal you up all the way to 100 HP. And lastly, the shield potion. Yes, this was the only shield in the game. There were no minis or anything else. You could stack them up to 5, and they took 5 seconds to use, and they gave you 50 shield. These items were all common rarity and have always been in the game, so nothing much to say about them really. And like I said at the beginning of the video, the Battle Royale mode was actually added on September 12th, which was 2 weeks before it actually became free and released officially. So before then, it was paired with Save the World. All the weapons and items I just mentioned were added in Update 1.6, which was during that time 2 weeks before Battle Royale was officially released. However, during the preseason of Fortnite, there were a few items added. The first being the Scoped AR. It came in rare and epic rarity, and it packed a punch for sure. The weapon was actually hit scan, even though you could kind of see the bullet drop off whenever you shot it, and it would be a little bit awkward at times. Either way, it was a really good weapon, with the purple Scoped AR originally doing 96 headshot damage, close to the Scar. The other weapon added in this update was the Tactical SMG. It came in uncommon, rare, and epic, and it was a little better than the regular SMG. Even though the damage increase wasn't a whole lot, It just simply felt like it hit harder for whatever reason. 3 days later, Epic added the supply drops that would spawn usually during mid to late game and float from the sky by a hot air balloon. You could destroy the balloon to make the crate fall straight to the ground. It contained epic or legendary weapons and a few consumables and materials as well. You definitely always wanted to go for these. And in that same update, they added the Zappatron. This weapon was only in the game for about 30 minutes before it was vaulted, and this is the only video of it in game. It looked really weird compared to the rest of the weapons in the game at the time, honestly. To use it, you had to charge it up and then it would shoot some sort of beam, dealing 150 damage. This weapon is extremely iconic due to its uniqueness at the time and its rarity, being in the game for only 30 minutes. And with that being said, those are all the weapons and items that were present during the pre-season of Fortnite. There were no V-Bucks, no cosmetics, no emotes, just gameplay. And even then, at its most simple time ever, it was still a blast to play. As always, if you stay to the end of the video, I really appreciate that, and feel free to leave a like and even hit that sub button. Comment down below what other videos you'd like to see. Y'all have a blessed day.